Miss Cindy here, and welcome to Tales and Tales Summer Reading Online with the Louisville Public Library. Now, this year's theme is cryptids. Oh, doesn't that sound fun? And now, don't forget to register online and be sure to complete all the challenges in order to get awards, in order to get prizes. Now, my presentation in today's video is all about a giant bird. Can you guess what it is? It's the great Thunderbird, warriors of myth. The clouds grow dark as a figure in the sky approaches with impressive speed. The bright feathers of this enormous winged creature make for a stark contrast in the sky. It seems to be coasting on the winds above, but with every flap of its wings, the rumbling of thunder can be heard. Bolts of lightning would fly from its eyes. The people below stare in awe as this mighty protector and enforcer. Behold, the mighty Thunderbird. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to watch a short video by Animal Planet on the Thunderbird. And it's pretty intense. Now, described as supernatural being, the enormous bird was a symbol of power and strength that protected humans from evil spirits. Thunderbirds are masters of the sky and storms. The Thunderbird brought rain and storms, which could be good or bad. Good when the rain was needed, or bad when the rain came with destructive strong winds, floods, and fires caused by lightning. Its physical appearance, the bird was said to be so large that several legends tell it picking up a whale on its talons. They were said to have bright and colorful feathers with sharp teeth and claws. He resembled the eagle, but is distinguished by the two curved horns or plumage on his head. And you can see by where the red arrow is pointing. Now, the Thunderbird was frequently accompanied by lesser bird spirits, often in the form of eagles or falcons. Okay, and here's a chart to show you just how big the Thunderbird was. As you can see, the turkey vulture had a wingspan of 6 feet, where the great albatross had a wingspan of 11 feet. But the reported Thunderbird had a wingspan of 15 to 20 feet. See how much bigger it is? The origins of this bird are largely unknown. Some researchers believe that the Thunderbird legend is based on the sightings of real birds, with some even posing the argument that early sightings could have been from descendants of the pterodactyl dinosaur species. Because of this, the Thunderbird goes from being merely a mythical creature to potentially also being a cryptid, which is a creature whose existence is reported but never proven. Many legends suggest that the Thunderbirds had the ability to shape-shift into human form. They supposedly did this by removing their feathers, which they could put on and off and like a blanket, and tipping their beaks up over their heads, similar to the way one might do with a mask. When this was done, a Thunderbird could walk among humans without drawing attention. All that needed to be done for them to transform again was to pull down their beaks and put on their feathers again, thus changing back into their original form. The Thunderbird's home is a cave in the Olympic Mountains, and he wants no one to come near it. They're vengeful hunters. If hunters get close enough so that he can smell them, he makes thunder noise. All the hunters are so afraid of Thunderbird and his noise that they never stay long near his home. No one ever sleeps near his cave. Thunderbird keeps his food in a dark hole at the edge of a big field of ice and snow. His food is the whale. Thunderbird flies out in the ocean, catches a whale, and hurries back to the mountains to eat it. One time, whale fought Thunderbird so hard that during the battle, trees were torn up by their roots. To this day, there are no trees in Beaver Prairie because of the fight whale and Thunderbird had on that day. The Thunderbird continues to be a point of fascination for all. The Thunderbird appears to be a creature of extreme intelligence and intrigue. There are many stories that tell of the Thunderbird in Native American legends, which makes the creature appear to be one of the key deities in their beliefs. The Thunderbird is mysterious in that it not only is merely a protector, but it can also be seen as an enforcer of morality, one that should never be angered. Many legends reference the anger of the Thunderbirds as something fearsome to behold and that should be avoided at all costs. The Thunderbird is known to have harsh punishment for people who have done wrong and is even said to have turned an entire village to stone for their wrongdoings. The Thunderbird was known to give life by nurturing the life forms on Earth and giving them the necessary rains to survive. However, these creatures could also destroy the Earth with winds, floods, droughts, and fires caused by lightning. Okay, now let's look at the Thunderbird in art, literature, and just everyday life. Now, in modern times, the mythical creature is believed by some to be a real animal that has so far escaped human study, similar to Bigfoot. The legendary bird is also loosely inspired a Marvel Comics superhero of the same name, which is an Apache with superhuman strength and speeds, whose costume was decorated with an image of the Thunderbird. Now, many commercial products have also borrowed the name of the Thunderbird, including a brand of bass guitar, an inexpensive wine, and a line of Ford automobiles, among many others. Throughout history, the Thunderbird symbol has appeared on pottery, masks, jewelry, and carvings. The legend has been told through songs and oral histories. The Thunderbird is found in many American Indian cultures. It is often seen on the totem poles and in the art of the Navajo and the Sioux. And here are some examples of totem poles. Okay, now here I have some examples of the Thunderbird as jewelry. We have Thunderbird masks, and we have pictures of the Thunderbird on pottery. So beautiful, isn't it? Perhaps, though, the most breathtaking specimen of the Thunderbird symbol is atop traditional totem poles of the Pacific Northwest coast, which is Alaska, Oregon, and Washington in the United States, and the northwest coast of Canada, known as the British Columbian Province. The more familiar native nations of this region include Tlingit and Haida. Now, did you know, okay, I'm going to give you some tidbits here about the Thunderbird. This legendary bird is symbolic of things like life, truth, and energy. It's considered a powerful sign of destiny. The Thunderbird kept the underworld spirits at bay by throwing lightning at them. Tobacco was sacred to the Thunderbird. They rarely joke around and are of a more serious nature. There was not just one Thunderbird, but many of them were often seen in the skies. Okay, let's look at some gigantic bird sightings here. These are just a few of them. Now, in 1948, in Illinois, 3 men claimed to have an encounter with a Thunderbird on April 10th, 1948. They saw what they assumed was a plane in the sky and noticed it cast a large shadow on the ground. They soon realized it wasn't a plane, but in fact a giant bird that was flapping its wings. The men claimed that the bird had a torpedo-shaped body and wings measuring at least 25 feet across. Just a few weeks later, and just a few towns over, a man and his son also reported seeing a huge, menacing-looking bird flying overhead. One third Thunderbird encounter occurred now on July 25th, 1977, in Lawndale, Illinois. Now, on this evening, 3 boys were playing in a backyard when a pair of incredibly large birds swooped down at them. 2 of the birds ran away unharmed, but they watched in horror as one of the birds picked up their friend, 10-year-old Marlon Lau, and here's a picture of him with his mother, in its claws and lifted the boy off the ground. After carrying the boy some distance away, it finally dropped him about 2 feet onto the ground. Lau had deep scratches in his shoulders where the bird's talons dug into him. Here is a sighting in Alaska in 2002 in which somebody claimed that they saw what looked like something out of Jurassic Park. According to the witness, the huge bird had a reptilian appearance and a 14-foot wingspan. And here's an article from the newspaper, the Scripps Howard, of that sighting. 1980s. A boy was outside and happened to look up to the sky and saw 4 gigantic birds in Texas. He watched as they flew into the clouds and even higher. 2000, a man on vacation in Mexico was sitting on a cliff near a beach when he looked towards a mountain to his left and saw a gigantic bird flying. And now this is by Stephen Wagner, this article. On the evening of Tuesday, September 25th of 2001, a 19-year-old claimed to have seen an enormous winged creature flying over Route 119 in South Greensburg, Pennsylvania. The witness's attention was drawn to the sky by the sound that resembled flags flapping in a thunderstorm. Looking up, the witness saw what appeared to be a bird that had a wingspan of an estimated 10 to 15 feet and a head about 3 feet long. The witness observed the creature for about 90 seconds, even seeing it land on the branches of a dead tree, which nearly broke under its great weight. Unfortunately, no other witnesses saw the bird on this date, and no tangible evidence could be found for the bird after the site was searched. But what makes this story more interesting, however, maybe even plausible, is that other sightings of similar description were reported in Pennsylvania in June and July of 2001. On June 13th, a resident of Greenville, Pennsylvania, was startled by the great size of a grayish-black creature seen soaring overhead, at first thinking it was a small airplane or ultralight aircraft. This witness observed the bird for at least 20 minutes, clearly seeing its fully feathered body and confidently estimating its wingspan to be about 15 feet and its body length at about 5 feet. This bird, too, was seen to perch on a tree for at least 15 minutes before taking to the air again and flying off toward the south. A neighbor of this witness claimed to have seen the creature the next day, describing it as the biggest bird I ever saw. Now, less than a month later, on July 6th, a witness in Erie County, Pennsylvania, which isn't that far from Greenville, Pennsylvania, reported a very similar sighting, according to an item in 14 Times magazine. Again, the creature's wingspan was estimated to be 15 to 17 feet and was described as dark gray with little or no neck and a circle of black under its head. Its beak was very thin and long, about a foot in length. Now, that was not just the first sightings of thunderbirds in Pennsylvania, and if these reports are accurate, these birds are the largest flying creatures not yet identified by science. In 2006, a man was working in a rock quarry in Dade County, Florida, near the Everglades, when he saw a gigantic bird gliding in the wind. At first, he thought it was a small plane, then realized it was a bird. In 2013, in Pennsylvania, on May 26, when two friends were walking through the woods near Athen Castle and were startled by something extraordinary. It was extremely loud, and I glanced up and saw a huge black bird, Anthony said in his report. It was sitting above us, and we seemed to startle it. It flew about 100 feet to a nearby branch. Its wingspan was at least 10 feet, and judging how far it was, it looked to be around 4 feet tall. Now, on March 2018, a boy in the woods near his home when out of nowhere he was attacked by a gigantic bird. The bird lifted him off the ground and then dropped him. The boy passed out when he hit the ground. His father found him and took him to the ER. The Boston Globe ran a story on the incident, and here's a picture of that boy. Now, some of the sources I've used, I've listed here, and I've also listed music and the sounds that I've used. Now, today, zoologists categorize thunderbirds in the realm of mythical creatures, but there is plenty of fossil evidence to prove that massive birds did at one time fill the skies of Earth. And this is out of the History Daily. Now, did gigantic birds coexist with Native Americans thousands of years ago? And could thunderbirds still exist today? What do you think? You be the judge. Now, don't forget, stop by the library and pick up your grab bag that goes with today's video. In that grab bag, you're going to find a colorful Thunderbird totem pole that you can cut out and put together. Also in that grab bag, you're going to find a Thunderbird coaster. Now, don't forget also to complete your incentives or your challenges for this week, because you can get awards to win prizes. And those challenges for this week are check out 15 books, check out 5 movies, and read 100 pages. So good luck, and I hope you have fun doing this. And thank you for joining us for another cryptid video adventure. Now please join us every week starting June 7th through August 6th for new cryptid videos. Also, stop by the library each week to pick up your grab bags. Now, the grab bag will contain any supplies needed for crafts, plus some cool gifts. On Fridays, don't forget to watch Storytime at 10:30 with Miss Jenna.